Hi, it's Kai. Today we are going to be doing a makeup collection video. We're going to be going over my single eyeshadows, and I think I'm also going to put some eyeliners in here because I feel like those kind of go together because I don't really feel like I have enough eyeliner to do a separate video. Anyway, we're going to be doing that today, and because it's liquid and cream eyeshadows, or I should say liquid and cream eyeshadows are included in my single eyeshadows, I am probably going to be I know I'm going to be decluttering some because there have been a few that I've definitely looked at and I've seen that the texture has gone off, they've dried up, and I don't really care to keep them to revive, or again, they've gone off, they smell bad. I know they smell bad. So we're going to be getting rid of those today, but I hope you enjoy makeup collection videos. We're going to be trying to go through my whole makeup collection by the end of the year so that I can really start off like a project pan and figure out, okay, what do I actually have in my collection versus what am I trying to get rid of, or what products do I actually gravitate toward and things like that. But again, that's just kind of where we are, and we're doing eyeshadow or more eyeshadow. I already did my palettes, so if you want to see my eyeshadow palette collection, a lot of discontinued and old limited edition stuff, you can definitely go check out that video as well. But anyway, we're just going to stop the chatter right here and get into it. There are actually a few different places that my single eyeshadows are housed. One of them is, well, it's a mirror that I've repurposed as like my everyday makeup tray. It honestly mostly has my Project Pan products in it because that's been the majority of my everyday makeup more recently, but it also has a few products that I've been testing out to talk about or that I've even reviewed recently. Like one of the ones you may have seen on there is the e.l.f. Plume eyeshadows, which these are some single eyeshadows that are included in this video. Anyway, the ones that are over here on this little tray, because I've been using them, testing them out, or they are in my Project Pan, are again these three. This first one that I was already talking about are the e.l.f. Plume eyeshadows. They have a shimmer veil or feather shimmer veil and a feather matte veil version of these. And I have the shade Bronze d'Or, which is a pretty, and I already have, like I said already, I think a full review on these. Actually, my first impression to full review and how my thoughts on them change the longer that I use them and the differences between the formula, yada yada. You can go check that out if you want to see that. But this is a really pretty, you can already see the indentation I have from using it. It's a really pretty bronze shade, like a neutral bronze with a pinky shimmer to it. So I've been using this a lot, especially when I haven't wanted to do a lot of makeup. It's a really nice one shimmer or one shadow shimmer, one shadow look type of thing. Anyway, the other one that I have is Le Cafe, and this one I honestly don't like as much. I'm still playing around with it to see if there's a way I can use it or looks that I can use it in to finish it. But if I don't end up liking this, I'll probably try to pass it on to someone who I feel like would like it better, whose skin tone may carry this a little bit better, because it's just a little kind of ashy on me, just slightly, especially when or as I'm getting deeper in the spring and summertime. So maybe I need to keep it even when I lighten out for the fall and winter time to see if I like it better on my skin then. But I definitely prefer the shimmery ones and the shade that I have in the shimmer one over this. And then the other one I have is the Glossier SkyWash in the shade Echo. I've been trying to finish these. These have been discontinued more recently, I believe. I think they have a couple of colors still left on their website, but overall these are discontinued. And honestly, the more that I use them, the more that I don't love it. Again, it's one that's kind of in my Project Pan. I just did a full face of Project Pan, or like my thoughts on doing Project Pan, basically where my Project Pan stands for this year as I'm trying to go through my makeup collection and see what I actually like and really try out what I have versus being stuck on a select few products and trying to run through them and neglecting the rest of my collection, and everything else is just kind of sitting there like a duck. This one, it's used sheerly. I do enjoy it. Like I have it on my eyes today in combination with something else, but I often don't like to use it by itself. And even in my last video when I was using it, I felt like it just looked a little bit harsh and patchy the more that I was trying to blend it and build it up. So this isn't necessarily my favorite thing. I think, again, for a very sheer one shadow look, it's good. But if you're trying to build up the pigmentation, it can get a little bit hairy to work with. And I'm pretty sure that was a common complaint of this product, it being patchy in all of the shades, I want to say. So I've taken the stopper out. I feel like this is one where even if I don't officially finish all of the product, which I definitely think that I could if I, focus on it, if I don't finish all of the product by the end of the year, I probably will go ahead and declutter it just because it's not my favorite and I feel like I've used it enough if I'm taking the stopper out of it, you know what I'm saying? And then because I don't really know where else to fit eyeshadow primer, I don't really have many. I think I have this one and a glitter eyeshadow primer and maybe one other one. So if I figure out where those are or come across them during this video, I'll show you. But I have the e.l.f. Shadow Lock Eyelid Primer. This was back when their eyeshadow primers were $2 or $3. I don't even think they make this version of the primer anymore because they want you to buy their $5, $6 version of it. I am just kind of like, this worked. It works fine. I have no gripes with it. It didn't need to be touched. We didn't need a new version or an upgraded version that was more expensive. And aside, again, from not wanting to purchase e.l.f. because of the kind of sensationalism, the rage bait almost that they're using as marketing for their brand at this point, it just doesn't align with me and what I want in my collection and the products I want to talk about. On top of that, their prices have just gone up so much that every time I see them launch something new, I'm just like, gosh, you're not the affordable e.l.f. anymore. You're not the go-to for people who are just getting into makeup and don't want to buy super expensive stuff to potentially mess up or like run through or feel like they're what is the word? Just, again, messing up or not, you know what I'm saying? Wasting. There we go. That's the word. So again, I really wish e.l.f. would go back to their roots, at least build in a more affordable line. Like, you can have maybe the products that are super expensive, but at this point, I feel like they need to build back in some lower entry level products, or else they're kind of just every other drugstore brand. And especially because they just are trying to come out with dupes of dupes of dupes, it's really giving they don't have a brand identity anymore. They're not the price leader, but they're also not necessarily the quality leader either. Anywho, the other place that I have some, and I can see if I can turn my camera a little bit, in this little corner where I usually have some eyeshadow palettes, but right now I don't have any eyeshadow palettes in my little container. I just have other things that I'm using this for. But over here in general, I have, like, this holds, on top of just some random extra stuff like foil for when I am doing my eyebrows, or this is where I hold most of my single eyeshadows. It's just an acrylic container that I probably got from like TJ Maxx or Walmart, like, you know, somewhere, anywhere that they would sell acrylic containers for less expensive than the container store. Because anyone who especially was on early makeup YouTube, you know, it was all of the acrylic containers in the Alex 9 drawer desk. Like, that's what you wanted to aspire to. And I don't know what this is on the top of it. Something, it looks like glue of some sort. I was probably doing a project, but I am just wiping this off and wiping out these drawers because they have not been wiped, sanitized, or anything for a hot second. This first drawer, honestly, like I said, just has my foil in it for when I bleach my eyebrows. I've been thinking about bleaching them again. I don't know though. I'm to the point where I realize I kind of look good with anything that I decide to change my look. Like, again, I've talked about it a lot, went from having like natural hair, more of an afro, and then even before that, wearing a lot of wigs and stuff and like long hair wigs, all of that, to shaving off my head completely bald. And this isn't even how low, like, this is my hair grown out a little bit. This is me needing a haircut. probably within the next few weeks, I'm gonna go see my barber. But I just went to that and was thinking I'm not gonna be as pretty or perceived as beautifully as when I had longer hair. And I'm just like, oh, actually that was a lie. Like, some people have the face structure, have the face, not trying to like be vain or anything, but truly some people have a face structure where they kind of look better with it. Like, I feel like I look better, my features pop a little bit more, I'm not hidden behind hair versus when I did have hair. And I even look back on the pictures that I have of me in wigs and different hairstyles, and I think, wow, I look really beautiful here too. But also in my current life, I feel like this is the style that fits me and my body and features and everything the best, that makes me pop the best. So same thing with my eyebrows. I was just kind of like, oh, the bleached brows, everyone is like calling them ugly, X, Y, and Z, but I thought that they looked really cool, and I was wondering if they would look cool on me, and they did look really cool in my opinion. The only thing is just the upkeep, and my brows also are the type of brows where, and my hair in general, even before I dyed my hair, this is all on the side, I'm so sorry, but I've dyed my hair blonde, like bleach blonde, almost platinum before. Really liked that as well, even though I do like a little honey blonde, kind of brown, almost blonde-ish moment a little bit more. But either way, I did that, and part of the reason that I stopped is because my hair will get used to a certain type of dye, and then it just starts not working on the new growth. And that's what was happening with my brows. Like, I was using a specific brand of hair dye in the little mixing powder, and then I started using it to, you know, touch them up, and it just wasn't dyeing the new hair blonde. So I was like, okay, we're gonna give it a rest. We're just gonna grow our brows back out. And now that I've grown my brows back out after a year almost of having them blonde, I'm kind of just like, dang, your brows, like natural brows, look really nice too. All that is to say, play around with your look, and it's okay if you change what you think looks best on you. Moving on to the actual eyeshadows, this first one has a whole bunch of different cream, or more so liquid eyeshadows. So this first one, RIP to a real one, it's the Warrior Glitter Shadow from Flower Beauty, and it's the shade, what shade is this? Flame. And this is just the most beautiful coppery shade. I'm probably not going to swatch everything, and you can see like it's separated a little bit, but it even like just shaking it up is causing it to go back to its oh no. So I guess I am getting rid of this one, unfortunately. I know some people are like, oh, you can depot it or put it in another container or anything. If I have something like this, especially since my products are pretty old, if I have something like this where the wand is popping off of it, it's basically disintegrated into the formula, I take that as a sign of it's time for me to move on. Though I am really sad about this because, I mean, you can't get it anymore. There's a part of me that wants to keep it for the nostalgia, for the fact that this was one of the first liquid eyeshadows. I mean, I may have had some NYX ones before, but this was one of the first liquid eyeshadows that I used and fell in love with. And I remember the 2016 cut crease fall looks with this. We were like, oh my gosh, when I talk about that time, I know everyone talks about it so lovingly and nostalgic, or people are just like, what were we doing? The same way any generation ends up talking about certain things from their adolescence. But for me, I was just like, we were truly living our best lives. We were doing thick, heavy makeup to just go to the grocery store or go places, and I'm really even trying to revive that back in myself. Like, I do pet sitting pretty much full time outside of doing YouTube. Well, I don't really make money from YouTube at this point. I do make a little bit of money from TikTok and stuff, and I occasionally get partnerships and stuff, but what I really want to do is write. So my time when I'm not pet sitting and not doing like social media stuff, I am trying to write more and build that up, which is really scary to put out here and say on the internet. But anyway, outside of that, I pet sit, so a lot of the time I'm just out walking dogs or even just sitting in people's houses with their cats. So sometimes I just don't feel like I need to put on makeup, but I really do like the ritual of it. I'm at the point in my life where I don't necessarily use it to enhance my beauty, to make me look beautiful or more put together. Like, I just do it because I love it. If I don't feel like doing makeup, I'm not going to do makeup. So sometimes for me, I feel like I don't want to put on makeup just to go out and sweat it off, but also that helps me like actually test out products and whether they work for certain conditions. Do they work in the rain? For sweaty conditions, X, Y, and Z. So I feel like that makes me a better reviewer for being able to test different products out in those conditions and relay that information back. So I probably just need to, again, get over myself and do like I did today. I was like, I have enough time to sit down and do my makeup and film and stuff. So I'm going to do that before going out and walking dogs. And I'm also testing some new products too. So I can do kind of like a double whammy, and I just look pretty, you know. I don't necessarily think I don't look pretty without makeup on, but I look pretty when I have it on and cutesy and stuff. So I really hope that we can all like adopt that like philosophy around makeup where it's just like, we don't need it. We can go out without it. We can even pick and choose what makeup we want to wear on certain days. If you want to wear red lipstick with nothing else, baby, there's some people who turn that look out and you're just like captivated by them, and do it. You might be one of those people. Anywho, again, I'm really struggling with wanting to keep this for the nostalgia aspect of it, but I know it's not usable, even though it doesn't even smell bad or anything. It hasn't gone off. It's literally just packaging not being functional. But again, I have other things. I know I have this shade in some other palette. We talked about my eyeshadow palettes. I probably have even a single eyeshadow that is similar to this. I need to let it go. So I'm gonna declutter this. We're starting off the video pretty much with a declutter, and yeah, oh my goodness. Okay. You'll probably see that one more time in an empties video, honestly. Then we have the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Liquid Seaglass, and I've said it before, Tarte has always been, you know, one of those brands that people have questioned, but I think the Rainforest of the Sea collection for them was like the best thing they ever did with their brand, and them getting rid of it was like, that's when they started feeling like the just generic, I don't want to say like white girl brand, but you know, kind of, yeah, kind of boring, kind of bland, if I'm being honest. And not saying that everyone fits that, but just like, I find kind of the clean girl, just minimal makeup, even though there's a time and place for that. It can look great on some people. There's a lot of people who rock that look. Again, as someone who grew up in 2016, cut crease to go to the grocery store time, it is bland, it's basic, it's just nothingness. It's a nothing burger. And this was when Tarte didn't feel like such a nothing burger of a brand. So Liquid Seaglass, there's the shade Sweet Life, which is it looks like it has some silver, like a champagne silver type of shade. Okay, it doesn't smell like it's off or anything, and if I do a little swatch, it's not dried out. So that's that one swatched. I didn't intend to do swatches today, but we might do some just to see if they are dried out or not. The next is Night Dive, which is a deeper kind of bronzy pink with a silver shimmer to it. Okay, this one definitely feels a little bit chunkier, so it's one that's that shade right there. It definitely has a really pretty reflectiveness. It's kind of like a taupey pink. It almost reminds me of the shade, what is this? The Bronze D'Or shade from Violette FR, but definitely like more intense. Similar with the kind of pinky bronze, and then just it has a more chunky glitter to it. It's not completely dried up yet, so I am going to hold on to this, but it's one that if I start trying to use it and I realize, you know, it's not really lying the way I would like or laying the way I would like on my eyes, then I'll probably move that along. There's the shade Una Noche, which is a almost fiery reddish pink. But yeah, this one still has a pretty nice consistency to it, so that's that shade right there. It's almost like a copper fuchsia, somewhere in between them. Very pretty shade. I'm gonna hold on to it. They do all have silver glitter, and I think part of the reason that I haven't worn these as much or used them as much is because silver glitter is not always my favorite, or hasn't been, and I used to be really more into like golden, coppery, like those types of tones, even though I would say now I'm maybe more so in the middle with more neutral tone makeup in general. And lastly, of course, every single holiday set or set that had eyeshadows in it had to come with like a charcoal gray or a black or something like that. So we've got the black, or this isn't black, but kind of the silver gunmetal silvery shade with silver glitter. That's what I wanted to say. Well, this kind of actually has multicolored glitter in it. Anyway, it's the shade Speedboat. Oh yeah, this one also still feels pretty thin, and that's that shade. Definitely got a gunmetal. There's almost like a green undertone to it. I feel like I definitely need to pull these out to use more. So maybe I have to do some videos of like spotlighting certain products that I've kind of had back in the archives, back not really doing anything with them, but they don't smell bad or anything. I'm not noticing any off texture, except this one being slightly chunkier than the other ones, but again, it's not bad enough for me to write off completely. So that's those. Next are the NYX Glitter Goals liquid eyeshadows, and I have two shades. As you see, we really liked our glitter back in 2016 to like 2020. I have the shades Polished, which is a champagne shade that has multicolored glitter in it. It looks like it's maybe a little bit chunky again. Oh yeah, this one's definitely chunky, but I feel like it's still not so chunky that I can't try to use it a few times. That's that shade. Up close, I feel like you can see more of like a golden-ish, it's not quite golden, it's almost like a green gold shift to it. So I am gonna hold on to that one for now. And then we have the shade Multiverse, which seems really similar to this shade over here. So I'm gonna swatch it next to that first one. This one's definitely less chunky, and they're not exactly the same. That's the Tarte one that we had swatched, and this is that Multiverse shade. It kind of is a taupe with a very silver reflect, especially on my skin. So that is the first little drawer of eyeshadows that I have. If I have any other ones that can fit, I will put them in there. But for now, I'm just going to leave, like, I don't have a lack of space for my single shadows, honestly, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Then we have this, you know, second larger drawer, and this is where I have some kind of like pigments, some pressed, I don't know, I just have a little bit of everything. They're single eyeshadows. They're different formulas of single eyeshadows, and then this random puff. So I'm gonna put that puff with the other random puffs that I have stored over here. Anywho, the first two that I see in here that are definitely kind of my chopping block ones are these Stila Shimmer and Glow liquid eyeshadows. I have the shade Grace, which if you've seen my Project Pam videos, you know that this is no stranger to them. And I have put some Inglot Duraline into the bottom, and I even talked about how maybe I would save this compact from one of my other single eyeshadows that was in my Project Pan to depot this shade in. However, I am kind of at the point where I'm like, if you see, I used about halfway of it. It's completely dried out. These do dry out pretty quickly unless they've changed the formula. And I have so many other eyeshadows, so many other shades similar to this. You can see from even putting the Inglot Duraline in it that the doe foot has curled up and dried. And I'm kind of, as much as the OCD in me is saying you didn't finish it, so you didn't get all of the use out of it, you didn't get all of the worth, and you're wasting it, and there's not like a real packaging defect to cause you to waste it. I'm also kind of at the point where I'm just ready to let this go. There's other formulas I like better. There's other shades I like better. This shade in particular is, again, kind of like a silvery champagne. And again, I just have other things that I'm more interested in using at this point. The other shade that I have is La Douce, which is a really pretty green shade, and I hypothetically like it, but it's pretty dry, and while I can get a swatch of it here, that's the only reason that's making me think of keeping it, is because I can get a little bit of a swatch on it. It's, as you can see, a green gold type of shade. It's pretty, but then again, there's a part of me that is just like, you have so many green eyeshadows, you can probably pass on this because it is so dried out. Since I can get a swatch on it, let me see about the other one. Yeah, this other Stila one, I can barely, you know, a little bit of something is coming off on it, but it's just like, it looks so similar to that shade that we swatched from the Tarte, and the Tarte one isn't dried out. So I feel like this one can go, and I'm going to keep this with the idea that if I don't use it by the end of this year, I think I'm just going to go ahead and declutter it, but I want to try to use it at least once to see, is the formula workable when using it on the eye, or is it something that, again, I just need to go ahead and get rid of because it is drying out a bit. I also think I'm going to move it, since it's the Soul Stila shade now. It kind of fits good right here, and then I have a little bit of space for maybe another single there. Next is another Glossier SkyWash. This is the shade Terra, which actually is one of the ones they still have available. And ooh, it is definitely like, I can again get a swatch of it. This is what it looks like, a very orangey shade, very much so something I would have loved back in my earlier years. I think these came out in either 2019 or 2020. So again, kind of something I would have loved back when I loved warm tones. I have other orange eyeshadows, and this formula isn't the best, but it's also one that I kind of wouldn't mind trying to actually finish. So I'm gonna keep this one for now. And if by the time I want to roll that into a project pan or really focus on using it outside of if I just decide to use it because I want to, then if it isn't in the shape to really be used, or I feel so beholden to getting rid of it, then I'll get rid of it. Next is the Rare Beauty Nearly Berry Liquid Eyeshadow, and it's a kind of fuchsia berry color. Not something that I have used a lot. It looks like the texture on it is still nice, and that's what the shade looks like. Again, I was able to get a nice swatch on it. It doesn't seem chunky or like the color is off. Doesn't smell off or anything. I got this gifted from one of my old friends on Instagram. I don't think she makes beauty content anymore. I think she's kind of graduated into her real life and real career. Not saying that this can't be like a real life or real career, but a lot of people really like sharing makeup on the internet for the love of it versus trying to be an influencer or get free stuff and things like that. Like, we were trading colors that we thought, oh, you might like this better. I got it in PR. It was just so nice and so community oriented. But I got this from one of those friends. It's special because it was received from someone who just thought of me and said, hey, I think you would like this better. It does not fit in this. It's a little bit too long, so I'm going to keep it with these other ones. The rest of these are all powder. So the first ones I have are the Wet n Wild Color Icon Pigments that came in a holiday set. And as you see, they're pretty much completely full. I don't have to worry necessarily about them being, you know, dried out or anything. And it's honestly a pretty sanitary setup with pressed pigments like this. So I also don't have to worry about like it just being old or things like that. Even though I don't really worry about that with powder products anyway, I will just shoot them with some alcohol and disinfect them that way. Either way, there is this white, which is more of like a white gold, and it was called Mary. This second one is a kind of rose goldy bronze called Noel. And then the third one I actually used in my last video, like got chatty ready with me using Project Pan products, even though at one point I was trying to use them or put them in Project Pan to use them more, but I didn't actually use them more, and that's why they have the green dots on them. I just never ended up taking those stickers off, you know? But this is the shade Jolly, and this is a coppery gold shade, or golden copper. So I am going to keep those because again, they work just fine. This next one I am going to keep, but I do want to find ways to use it more for sure, because I haven't really used like glitters, or as you even see, pressed pigments and stuff like that, but I haven't really used them as much, especially in the past few years. But I feel like this would be really pretty for, and I don't even know if NYX still has some of these, or if any of these brands still have some of these products. Like I can probably expect a holiday eyeshadow set to not still be available. But with how much the beauty community cogs out, I shouldn't even say the beauty community, I should say the beauty brands, the companies, they're always trying to give us something new and put something new in our face. So I wouldn't be surprised if these are discontinued. But again, we were all about our glitter at one time. I have this NYX Face and Body glitter. It is a purple shade called Violet. Very simple. I can definitely see it's been used. Like it's about right here actually for where the powder is settling. I'm gonna hold on to this. It's not only a relic, like a beauty community relic, because I promise most of us had something like this, whatever color it was. I feel like I even purchased the purple one specifically because they didn't have the other shades that I wanted in stock, and I just wanted to learn to work with glitter. Speaking of NYX, I also have this purple skinny dip eyeshadow, which I'm sure at one point I probably paired these together a lot, even though they're not quite the same undertone. This is definitely more blue, almost indigo leaning for it to be called Violet. But anyway, this, not necessarily the best formula. I say that and then it pulls such an insane smooth swatch. Like I feel as though, again, sometimes we forget how good makeup was, because everything now in the drugstore especially is like up here. But again, NYX was that brand that you went to when you wanted eyeshadows to show up on you as a deeper complected person, and you wanted less expensive makeup especially. So it's definitely almost like a dusty purple. I really like it. I need to pull this out to do a look with. And surprise, surprise, another like holiday kit of Tarte eyeshadows from when they weren't completely boring. These were their melted something, I think. Oh no, they're chrome paint shadow pots. This shade is Citrine. I'm not going to open them because they are kind of like a pressed pigment type of thing. And from the top of this one, I feel like you can, like, I'm scared to angle it too much, but it's a crumbly texture. So if you want to use it, it's not something where it's very easy to pull up. I only really pull up the little thing. This one's less messy. This one's compacted down. This is the shade Pink Diamonds. Okay, Charlie X. Then there's the shade Wild at Heart, which is one of those duochrome. It's like a champagne with a lot of golden green glitter, like that golden green shift that was really popular. And then this one is Frosé, which is more of a like rose gold. It looks very pink in the, what do you call it? And then when you put it on your eyes, it has more of a golden shift. Don't know if they still make those. If they don't, again, it's because they've watered down everything that was interesting in their line. Okie dokie. And before putting those back, I'm actually going to do the bottom tray because I feel like I can probably consolidate some of these and open up a little bit more room for the eyeshadows that are placed in other places currently. So in here, again, mixture of cream, liquid, and even some powder. So the other two NYX eyeshadows I have are down here. These are also nude matte shadows, similar to the purple one. And I don't know if I said the shade of this. This is skinny dip. And then I have underneath it all, which is a neutral tone brown shade. Use this as a transition shade. Definitely one that once I finish the Glossier one, I could see myself putting this in as my project pan eyeshadow since it's already got a little bit of a dent. It was something that I was trying to pan at one point, but I also just at one point did a project pan where I had too many products I wanted to finish up. And that is also a trap when you are trying to finish things because you're spreading yourself so thin that you can't get real progress with anything. Anyway, the other one I have is the shade Betrayal, which is just a pretty much deeper version, a neutral, almost leaning cool toned brown shade. Then we've got two of the Arc Beauty Smoke Reflect Cream Powder Eyeshadow Duos. I purchased both of the original ones. I purchased everything in the original Arc Beauty line because I really loved Samantha Robindahl at the time. She was one of my favorite YouTubers. I think she started posting more again. When she was coming out with her line, I was like, I'm absolutely purchasing everything from it. And these are still some of my favorite eyeshadows to this day. They're so effortless to use. I don't have to use even what is that called? Like blending shade in the crease. I can mix these with other formulas, other palettes. They don't have to be used in isolation, but they also work really well in isolation. Anyway, this first one is Defiance, and this is like a bronzy, honestly, just a straight up bronze, maybe with a slightly almost pink tone to it, with the topper kind of being a rose gold topper. Everything about the packaging feels luxurious. You even have a decent little mirror in here. I don't have the plastic taken off, but it's a decent little mirror that you can definitely use to do your makeup. And then there is Temper, and I feel like I've used these on my page so many times, but this is a true rosy toned gold, or like a rose gold, and again, shimmer on the top, like a rose goldy. This one comes off a little bit more like peachy gold on me. Love both of these. Wouldn't imagine getting rid of them. And actually, for having them for so many years, the packaging is really good because the creams haven't dried out. Like I've used them, one of them rather recently, and again, it's not dried out. Then I have a bunch of my Phytosurgence eyeshadows, and admittedly, a lot of these are old and a lot of them are dried out, but I don't know if I can really bring myself to get rid of them, especially because a lot of them can't be repurchased. I think they may be moving away from their eyeshadows entirely, and that's really sad because I think their eyeshadows were really pretty. I have two of my favorites, Hypnotic Honey and Ancient Acres. I know they hardly look used, but they're just one of those formulas where you don't really have to put a lot of pressure, put a very big dent to get some color payoff. This is Ancient Acres right there. Just a really pretty, like it almost has a mossy undertone. It's like neutral and a little bit champagne, but again on my skin, and maybe it's just because I'm wearing a lot of green today that it's showing more of that undertone, but this one actually doesn't really feel dried out. Then I have Hypnotic Honey, which might be like my actual favorite. This one seems maybe a little bit dried out, but not so much so that I'm unable to get a swatch on it. And these are definitely ones where I am willing. It's not that much different from Ancient Acres, admittedly, maybe a little bit more shimmer to it. But again, I love both of these, and I feel like it's something that with Inglot Duraline, like this formula with Duraline works well. So I don't necessarily feel like I have to get rid of them, at least not at this point. Some of my more dried out ones, because they are definitely older than those two, are like Pewtered Pine, which is a really nice silvery lilac shade. Yeah, this one's definitely difficult to get a swatch on. But again, I feel like with some Inglot Duraline, I can make them work. So I'm going to say that if I don't reach for any of these within the next year, or maybe even just by the end of this year and actually use them with Inglot Duraline, then I am going to go ahead and get rid of the ones that are already a little dried up. Similar ones, so I'm probably not going to try to get any swatches off of them because I know that these are in the same state. Magnetic Maple, which is a little bit similar to Pewtered Pine, but is definitely more on the gray side versus having the purpley undertone. Then there is Wild Oak, which was one of my early favorites. You can see how dug in this one is, and it's a kind of rose gold champagne shade. Definitely leans a little bit more gold on my skin. There's also Oxidized Olive, which is another kind of gray tone shade with a slight kind of, again, olivey undertone, but it still translates, at least on my skin, very much so gray. And then there is Chilled Cherry, which is a more pinky tone, kind of like the Pewtered Pine shade, but like the pinky toned version of it, or pinky gray. So again, I know that they are, what do you call it, they're dried out, but I'm probably going to keep them. And if I don't use them with Inglot Duraline, or I use them with Inglot Duraline and I'm just like, this isn't working for me anymore, then I'll go ahead and move along and get rid of them, or keep them in a little box as an archival thing if I feel so inclined to. But I really need to get more detached, learn the art of detachment, if you will, with these. These actually really good, and I know that they are still good as far as the formula goes, because I've used them semi-recently again. But these are the Give Beauty, RIP to them, but Give Beauty Painted Up Longwear Mousse eyeshadows. I have the shade Pogo and Bouncing Shoes, and these were like the two neutral shades that I have. I actually have more of them. I was on their PR list at one point, actually, and their products were pretty good, and it sucks that, you know, they've gone out of existence pretty much because Gwen Stefani is a MAGA Republican. Like, that's realistically why no one wanted to purchase from them and why no one was giving Give Beauty the time of day. But the formulas on these were good. This was a nice neutral toned, like, what is that, medium brown shade, and then this was a deeper shade. I used these together a lot, and they actually were nice and long wearing, even when I used them without primer, because I've definitely used these without priming my eyes before. So I have two more shades, I think 2 or 3 more shades even, and I'm going to find those. I know where they are. They're in my basket of doom, but I'm going to find those and add those in as well. And then let's clean out and wipe off this drawer. I don't even care if it's completely clean or if there's still a little makeup on it. I just want them to be a little less dusty, a little less gross looking, you know? But that's the thing with the acrylic containers that no one wanted to really say, because everyone just wanted to get on like IKEA or the Container Store's PR list, or like have the setup that everyone did, is that they do start looking kind of grody. No matter how much you clean or dust or anything, like, it's gonna look a little gross. Okay, and I am actually going to go eat my lunch because I have to go work a little bit, and once I go eat my lunch and work, we'll come back and do the rest of this. And I may figure out off camera kind of where I want to put everything, but again, we'll see. Or at least you'll see by the end of this. But anyway, I'm gonna go eat my lunch. Here's a reminder, go eat, go drink some water, nourish yourself, nourish your body today. I'm gonna go do the same, so we'll take a little bit of a break. Well, I will, you won't. Had to change my top because I literally sweated all the way through it, but this is what my makeup looks like after walking dogs for like 3 hours. So get into it. I feel like I look pretty darn good. Anyway, moving along to where more of my single eyeshadows are. Some of them are over here in this little container that I have. It honestly houses a lot of different stuff, but over on this side in these 2 pockets, I've had, you know, eyeliners and what is this called? Eyeshadows and stuff. Ones that either couldn't fit into my cats are playing, but they're going a little bit crazy over here. Anyway, like I was saying, they couldn't fit, like they were too long or too thick to fit in this other little container, or I just put them there for whatever reason because I felt like they would fit better or wanted to stand them up. Anyway, some of the ones that I have that I know I'm going to have to get rid of because these are very old, and the last time I tried to use one of them, they actually did smell pretty bad. These are the Kosas 10-second eyeshadows. I had so many colors of them because I was once on Kosas's PR list and I did some product testing for them and stuff like that, up until there was a situation where with their bronzer launch, where some people were saying that they didn't feel like it was very inclusive. Admittedly, for me, the bronzer, like my skin tone for that bronzer that they had, I don't know about their new bronzers, but I was the deepest shade for that, so that's not super inclusive. And then when people were talking about it, they were kind of taking people off of PR lists or asking to be taken, or if people wanted to be taken off of PR lists. And I did get taken off of their PR list at that time because I didn't feel like their response to people talking about the shade range not being great was like necessarily the best response. Anyway, they discontinued these and relaunched single eyeshadows, and all of them are very much so, at least from what I've seen, again, the clean girl type of colors. So I've had these for a while. I like them, especially this blue. I always like to use this blue as a base for any of my blue eyeshadow looks. But they all smell, and Kosas is one of those clean brands. They don't do the preservatives and stuff. And their brand, honestly, with some of their products, like their cream and liquid products, it makes an argument for why preservatives should be in makeup. I'm sorry. Again, they were decent products when I had them, but these smell so bad now that, again, when I was going to use them, even though the formula of some of them isn't off, the smell just made me be like, you can't use these. So this was the shade Nitrogen. Honestly, I feel like they should bring these out. They were good, and they should bring out, you know, like nice colors instead of a whole bunch of neutral tones. The other cool shade that they had was Fahrenheit, which is this nice plummy shade. There's also Supreme, which was kind of similar-ish. I would say, well, almost in between. There's two of these. I don't know what this one is because the sticker came off of it, so I don't know the name, but this is kind of like a deeper copper, and then this is a lighter copper gold, so kind of within the same realm. And then lastly, this warm tone bronze is the shade Element. So I will be getting rid of all of them because yeah, they all, oh gosh, they smell literally like rotten eggs. This one also, the, what do you call it? Because I remember why I even like noticed the smell. I noticed the smell, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna see if I can use this shade or like mix up the pigment since it's separated. And I tried pulling it out to use, and this happens for, I guess, both their liquid eyeshadows as well as their concealers, because the same thing has happened with the concealers I have from them, where the doe foot ends up separating from the rest of the concealer or the rest of the packaging and into the bottom of the concealer or the product. So it looks like that was the only shade that it happened. Oh no, this one, the unmarked copper shade as well. So I don't know what is in those shades that made it eat that glue on the applicator, or whatever was holding, whatever adhesive, I guess I should say, was holding the doe foot to the rest of the wand. But again, don't want to put those on my eyes, so those will definitely be decluttered. And then I have two liquid eyeshadows in this like squeeze tube packaging. One of them is technically not just a liquid eyeshadow. It's the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Matte in the shade Rustic. And this is, you know, a multi-use product. It's called a matte liquid pigment. You can use it on your eyes, your lips, and your cheeks, and it's also waterproof. This is such a good product for like long wearing summer makeup. I want to buy a whole bunch more shades of these, but I know that I don't need to buy a whole bunch of makeup because I have a whole bunch. If there is a shade that I just feel super drawn to, I could see myself getting more of these, but the formula is just bar none, especially if you want your products to last. And Danessa Myricks products in general, I feel like, are like that. So again, Rustic, just a really nice straight up kind of carrot orange. And I used to get a lot of use out of this, a lot more use than I currently do, just because I don't feel like I gravitate, even on my cheeks, I don't feel like I gravitate towards straight up oranges anymore. I'm more of a warm tone pink type of person in the current era of my life, but I love the color fixes. Again, I would have the entire range of them if it were financially and spatially feasible to have them, but I don't have all of them because those things are not feasible. Anywho, there's also this Sydney Grace eyeshadow, which I got from one of my, again, makeup friends over on the photo app, I guess you could say. And I haven't tried a lot from Sydney Grace. What is the shade name? It's I don't know. That's the name of the shade. I don't know. But I haven't tried a lot from Sydney Grace, but this is such a beautiful eyeshadow. It's just a straight up bronze. And I especially feel like since I am decluttering some of my bronzy or even champagne-y types of shades that I would use on the lid like this, that I will probably end up using this even more eventually. Maybe not immediately, but it is kind of like a antique-y bronze. There is like a slight almost olivey, or I don't want to say olivey necessarily, but I feel like on my skin tone, when something has a little bit of a silver undertone but also bronzy undertones, that it does end up being kind of olive on my skin. So that's what it looks like on me. I haven't really tried a lot from Sydney Grace. That's actually my only product from them, but I mean, from what I've tried, it's pretty nice. I like it on the eyes. It's pretty long lasting. And again, it's one that I'm definitely going to keep because it is not, you know, needing to be gotten rid of. I also think I found what the name of that shade was. It was stuck at the very bottom of my little thing of the container I had it sitting in, but this was the shade Copper Halo. Again, I think they've rebranded them. They may have come out with some of the similar shades, but I mean, I probably wouldn't repurchase them even if I did want to purchase, you know, Kosas products. And since this video is getting kind of long and we still have the products that are in the basket of doom, I think I am just going to do my eyeliners in a separate video. And once I finish the shadows, we'll cut it off here. But anyway, I have a whole bunch of different Milani shadows. I think this is all of the eyeshadows that I have in these front little pockets. Yeah. So I have some of the Milani gilded eyeshadow sticks. I have some of them that I purchased like a while ago. They used to be more of a classic pencil that you would need to sharpen. They didn't have the shade names on them though. So I had an olive green shade because you guys know I love these like deeper olivey, almost more mossy, maybe a little bit of a mossy green. And then I also have, of course, a bronzy brown shade. Then they revamped them, updated them, and put them in this type of stick packaging with the twist up on them. So I have more of these. Some of them are, again, in the basket of doom, but the ones that I had actually pulled out and used, and I feel like I had one more of them that I pulled out and used, but maybe not. Maybe I put it back in the basket. But they did put the shade names on these. So the first one I have is Terra, which this is a, you know, bronze. It's right there, kind of like a, you know, straight up bronze. It has maybe a slight bit of almost like a coppery orangey shimmer. My only issue with these in particular, they come out like they're very loose. They come completely out of the packaging. So while it's not that big of a deal because most of the time I'm not having them upside down for any reason, if you do happen to have them jostling around or like the cap comes off in your makeup bag or something like that, I would, you know, beware of it for that reason. And then this one isn't completely, what do you call it? But I just wanted to do a quick swatch as a comparison. So it's a little bit more lighter, a little bit almost more of a taupey bronze. The next shade is the shade Sterling, which is a really pretty, just kind of straight up silver shade. That's it right there. Like I said, the remainder of my eyeshadows are within here, or single eyeshadows are somewhere within my basket of doom. So I think we're actually going to take them out of the basket of doom, and let me explain exactly what the basket of doom is. These are products that I either bought or were sent to me that I put in here because I was like, oh, I want to do a video talking about them, or do like a roundup, new makeup, new whatever roundup, and then I just never end up doing it, and it stays in this basket, and I say, okay, I'm going to talk about these products in this type of video, and then again never do or never open them. And it also has, again, a whole bunch of unopened products, so I have to kind of pick through here. A lot of these are liners, admittedly. I honestly just feel like I need to have a fresh start with this basket so that I can actually keep up with the products that I haven't really talked about in videos and such. But I think I pulled out all of the eyeshadows in here, and and y'all will have to stick along, or stick around, I guess, for the rest of the products that'll eventually move out of here. So I have those other two Give Beauty eyeshadows. This first one is $19.98 and it is a light sky blue shade. It's actually really pretty. I'm gonna swatch this one. I swatched a lot of it, admittedly, but it is such a pretty, like, light blue, sky blue. It has some shimmer in it. It's gorgeous. I'm actually going to an Atlanta Dream game this weekend, so I may use this as part of my look since part of their colors, if I'm not mistaken, it's like a red and a light sky blue like this. So I might end up wearing this. I might record it if I end up wearing it too, if I have some time to film before leaving. If you would like to see me do a look featuring this, I know again it's not available, but just like a look featuring this and this color in particular, let me know and maybe I can put something together. The next shade is Midriff and it is like a light peachy shade, and actually I'm gonna swatch this one too because admittedly I don't know. Oh, it's actually completely sealed. I am going to actually look online and see if I can find a swatch of this anywhere. If not, since it's completely sealed and basically brand new, I might just give this away to someone, or, you know, get rid of it in some way, shape, or form, declutter it. So I do think that that's what I'm gonna do with this. It might have some shimmer in it because I think the other two shades I showed were matte. So if it has shimmer and it's like a light peachy shimmer, I could see myself potentially keeping it. But if I'm being completely honest, I feel like I don't really use those shades regularly, and I wouldn't use them in a like liquid or cream formula, maybe, at least not like a squeeze tube one. So maybe again, I will just go ahead and declutter this. Lastly are the rest of those Milani eyeshadows. So again, I had a bunch of them I want to give away and won basically the entire line of them. And I haven't even opened these because again, I had some other cream and liquid shadow shades and just hadn't really gotten around to using them. But this first one right here is Rose, so it looks like it's going to be a nice little like rose gold type of shade, or a neutral pink. Then there's the shade Sand, which looks like a kind of like, it almost looks like the same type of shade that Midriff would be, or Midriff. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Midriff, like almost like it has a U in it, but that's the way that my voice is trying to pronounce it right now for whatever reason. So the shade Sand, I feel like maybe again I'll keep Sand and then declutter Midriff because, you know, Midriff doesn't exist anymore and Sand hypothetically does. I don't know if these single eyeshadows still exist. I think they do, but for the purposes of doing videos, I would rather keep the item that is still available, even though you don't have to copy exactly the product with looks and tutorials and stuff like that. But sometimes it's nice to actually have products that people could get if they wanted that shade, versus again constantly showing like, hey, here's all of this discontinued makeup that I have and I use it to make great looks, but you're gonna have to go find things that look similar, or occasionally I can find things that look similar as they come across my desk, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, the other ones I have are the shade Desert, which is a kind of classic copper, which will be great considering we're getting rid of multiple copper shadows. There is the shade Moss, which is a green. I'm sure it's probably pretty much the same exact shade as this other unnamed, unlabeled one, but I want to use this one up since I already have it open. It is a green, and green is my most used eyeshadow color if I'm doing a colorful look. My brain almost doesn't even translate green as a color for a colorful look because it's just so natural to me. I will probably keep this one because I could see myself running through this to want another one anyway. The other one that I have, which looks like I have opened up and used, is the shade Lily. I don't know how this would differ. It looks like it's just a little bit more purple, whereas the rose shade is a more warm pink. But this is the shade. Ooh, that's really pretty. I need to bring that out to use. That's a really pretty, like, light purple. Oh, these two shades together look really nice and dreamy. I might have to you know, bounce around my head in that one to figure out a look, because that looks, I feel like they would look really good. Like one of them on the lid and the other either on the inner corner or on the inner corner and along the lower lash line. Yeah, I like that. Anywho, I'm pretty sure that is all of the actual eyeshadows, which means now we just have to figure out how everything is going to be organized. So I think in this little container right here, which where are my wipes? I'm sure my cat probably knocked them. Yep, she knocked them down. Actually, I think I'm just going to use maybe paper towel because this section isn't big enough for a full wipe, you know what I'm saying? Guess I can wipe the outside and like the top of the entire thing off, and then the inside of the sections one by one as I go through each one. Most of these are admittedly face products like blushes and highlight bronzers and stuff like that. I've even been thinking, so it's great, I'll hopefully get you guys feedback on this, but I've been thinking about doing blush, bronzer, and highlight since those are all in my drawer and they're so jumbled in my drawer, doing all of those in one video. But again, I don't know if that would be such a monster of a video that it would be unenjoyable to watch. So let me know what your thoughts are on that. Okie dokie, I think what we're gonna do is put all of the shadow sticks in that container, and I am going to put them upright so that I can see the shades at the bottom, you know, and be able to pick out a shade easier. I'm gonna put this back with those as well, and I'm also going to move this Rare Beauty one with them instead of it being with the other ones where the other little thing, like the one with the drawers, you guys know what I'm talking about at this point. I also think I'm going to go ahead and put these 3 Gxve Beauty eye paints that I'm going to keep and put them up here along with the Danessa Myricks Color Fix and then that Sydney Grace. Well, it doesn't quite fit, but it fits in the next thing over. So this is what all of that is looking like right now. All of the Milani pencils, the Glossier, the Gxve Beauty ones, Rare Beauty, the Danessa Myricks, and then also the, what is this called? Actually, maybe I'll move this since this is technically an actual eyeshadow. It'll be with the rest of the eyeshadows. Whereas because this is eyeshadow blush literally all over, you could use it as a color corrector if your skin was deep enough to use this as an orange color corrector. But it's more multi-purpose, so it's gonna go up front. And then this is going to go back in its place on my shelf. Then in the rest of these, I'm going to put all of my Phytosurgence ones. Okay, so they're fitting in there like that. And then I think we'll also do my 2, as long as it'll fit there, and we'll be, yeah, they'll fit there. We'll do the other Arc Beauty, or not the other, but the 2 Arc Beauty eyeshadows since they fit there. And then we can do these NYX single shadows right there. Or I guess I should turn it around, but like right across there. And then we have, again, these Tarte little pots, chrome pots. Those fit across there. And then technically I have a little bit of space right in here, and I don't know if they'll, yeah, I don't think it'll be enough to fit all 3 of these. So I think what I'll do is just put this little face and body glitter right here, since that fits kind of in that little slot, even though it's not necessarily a perfect fit. And then I'm still testing out the, you know, or not still testing out, but still just using and wanting to use because they're rather new. These ones, I will probably end up putting these Violet FR ones down into this bottom drawer if I end up, you know, oh, why is it? What is that? But I will end up putting the Violet FR ones in here because it looks like I'm going to have a completely empty, what do you call it, for some other products in my collection. And the last 2 things I wanted to talk about really quickly, just because we saw them, or I saw them where they were as I was going through things. So this is the NYX glitter primer. I am actually going to, maybe I'll put the NYX glitter because part of me is like, put the NYX glitter primer in here with this, and then I can also put this other one, which is the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. I'm not a big fan of that one. I can put that in there for now. I do want to wipe it off because it looks disgusting. Yeah, I think I'm going to actually do that. Put these other two backup primers in here since it's with some of the kind of glitter shimmer shadows. This is the complete little setup right here of these. Hold on, thumbnail. Okie dokie, that drawer is all set. And then I think what I'm going to do in here is put this little glitter pigment. For those pressed pigments, I think they're just going to go in this empty one for right now. But hey, if I am able to use up some of my other ones, or the next time that I go through and declutter, or I say, hey, this one's starting to dry out, I'm just going to get rid of it, I might be able to move these into another one of the drawers to eventually consolidate it. So that's what this little drawer looks like, and I'm sure it will eventually have some other shadows. Again, the e.l.f. ones might go in here. And then as we do some of my other makeup collection videos, I might have some other products that will fit better in there than wherever they are currently. But I'm pretty sure that is all of my single eyeshadows. If I find any more as we go through other drawers, because that's not necessarily a crazy thing to say, just because things kind of go everywhere every once in a while, especially when you move a lot. In the past 10 years since I really started makeup collecting, I've moved, I think like 5 or 6 times, like almost on average every 2 to 3 years. And sometimes I moved like 1 year after living in a place. But either way, with moving around a lot, sometimes you can lose things or things get put in other places. So if they do, we'll eventually come across those. And then to show everything that I'm going to declutter, because I think I did a pretty good job at decluttering, even if most of these are, you know, nasty and can't really be used anymore. This is everything. It barely fits in just one hand. I can grab it because I do have big hands and a strong grip, but again, I am getting rid of this many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shadows. So the first one, Give Beauty Midriff, because I just don't feel like it's a shade that I'll wear. All of these Kosas ones because they smell and the doe foot is falling off on them. This Warrior Glitter shadow because the doe foot fell off on it. And then this Stila Grace Shimmer and Glow shadow because it's just old and dried out and I don't really want to use it anymore. I've taken the stopper out. I've put it in Project Pan. I've used it pretty much down to like the last quarter of the product. So I feel like that's good, especially since this isn't one of my favorite types of shades for myself. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and kind of being able to shop and look through my stash of single eyeshadows. The next video will be eyeliners, which will probably be a little bit less interesting, admittedly, because I don't have a whole bunch of eyeliners, but I do have a lot of thoughts on eyeliners because eyeliner is that one category where you find something you like and it gets discontinued and reformulated. Anyway, I hope you guys again enjoyed this video. Let me know what you've been decluttering from your collection recently, and I hope you're staying safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.